peace. Man. Happy now. Now is a vibrative course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, just want to speak on the relationships of waves and kind of get into constructive wave interference and destructive wave interference, which I have got into it in other videos in the past when I get into plasma implosion and the neg entropy and our torus field. Matter of fact, the golden mean ratio, that all has a play. I mean, everything vibrates, so in essence everything has a vibration, and therefore if you have a vibration, that means something is pulsating. And when something is pulsating, it could either be pulsating at a low frequency or a high frequency. Matter of fact, like with a low frequency, compared high frequency, meaning the frequency of the wave, it frequently, matter of fact, I did a video about how like the word frequency almost stems or goes right into the word freak, like how they talk about like oh, that's a freak, man, they like to have sex a lot or something like that, but the word freak in essence, even in that connotation, in that context, I should say, still holds its scientific, name in essence. Like, a freak is somebody who likes to have sex frequently, you know what I'm saying? And the frequency rate, is very high, at which they, participate in sex. That's why they call them a freak, short for frequencies. Y'all don't start calling me universal freak, then. The high vibrations, matter of fact, the high vibrations, you see that they have a shorter wavelength, Then you got the lower vibration, it's the very white voice, hey baby, that's that. Matter of fact, and you can see that as like the dog whistle, in which I'm using those two. I just use sounds of voice, or like sounds we could hear as examples, but also you could see like, and which is not a direct correlation, but again, high frequency, so say for instance ultraviolet light, compared to our root chakra, matter of fact, or the base chakra, matter of fact, correlate to very white voice again, the base chakra, the red color, baby, vibrates a little slower than ultraviolet, ultraviolet light, which our two eyes, the two eyes that the physical body use, these two can't pick up on it good, but the inner eye can. The first eye could pick up on the ultraviolet light. As a matter of fact, and you see the correlation too again, the color spectrum is within us, the high spectrums of light, the crown chakra, all the way down to the root, which is red, vibrates at a lower frequency. And I've brought up before, like dealing with destructive wave interference and constructive wave interference. And basically destructive wave interference is when waves come interact with each other, and instead of amplifying each other or coming together, they crash and go against each other. And 90-degree angles causes destructive wave interference. That's why in our house, it's always good to sage the corners, or to put a piece of selenite, the selenite towers in the corner of the houses, because that purifies those corners where those waves, because say for instance you might have a room where at first, like say for instance you and somebody in the family, y'all kind of have a heated argument, bam, cool, and that energy don't get cleared, and then y'all go back in that room, and then something seem to pop off again, and it's a little more amplified than the last time, and as that's happening, that energy is building up in the corners of the room, that's where them waves crashing at, and where the crash waves in essence could, I feel a vibe of like where that's where they would gravitate and just sit at, and stagnate. Matter of fact, kind of like You know, the water in the body being stagnant, mosquitoes growing in it. You know, you don't want no mosquitoes growing in the corner of your house, you know. But the 90-degree angle, you know, is what caused that destructive wave interference, and that's also why, you know, the say for instance all like grass and trees and you know all the different plants are like, you know, biological life, you know, in essence. It's the color green because the photons, so you have color photons, and the photons of light is basically like a donut. You know, you can look at it. Let's see if I draw a good donut. I mean, donut like a tire in essence. I'm just drawing it in the simplest form. You know, donut, but you know these donuts have a certain type of angle. As a matter of fact, to give you, you know, and then inside your eye, you know, matter of fact, you ever had, you know, as a little kid, we had the game of the little donuts you put on the cone or whatever. And matter of fact, that's so dang indirectly putting us on game, you know, because I'm pretty sure whether the source did it indirectly or they made that off of the basis of how the eye picks up on color. But we have like a certain part of the eye that has a little cone, you know, and that cone picks up on the photon of light and be able to read it. So matter of fact, say for instance the color green, the photon of light has a 90-degree angle. So when it comes, say for instance at the 90-degree angle at the cone in our eye, like, all right, that's a 90-degree angle, you know, it's coming at it like that must be green, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's coming at this type of angle, it must be red. And matter of fact, people who are quote unquote color blind have like a damage, like that little cone is damaged, so they're not reading, you know, the colors for what they are. So green may come in as blue or something like that, you know, or vice versa, because of, you know, the cone is off. And matter of fact, also dealing with experiments, you know, reason why they find out that light, you know, because some people thought that maybe light was just particles just streaming, you know, all together and not a wavelength, you know. But, you know, they got like this vibe right here. It's kind of like the slit experiment with the electrons, but not exactly, you know. But you know, if you were shooting something directly down like a little hallway like this, matter of fact, let me make sure I don't take out too much of the light. But if you're shooting something down the hallway, if it was like straight particles and straight photons, you know, it would stay, you know, straight in this spot. So say for instance, if light was a direct photon, if you shine, so like say for instance, if I shine the light in between like like a little doorway or something like that, and I spoke on how the sun could actually be like, you know, not an actual sun, but just a hole that a bunch of light is coming through, you know. And matter of fact, again, you know, direct particles, you know, they go straight up. So, you know, if light was a direct particle, when it went through a slit, it would, you know, just hit the back wall directly, you know, just like this. But light doesn't do that. When light, you know, gets to a little area like that, like almost like the Wi-Fi symbol, you know, light expands. You know, when you run it through a slit like that, light expands to, you know, to the outer parts as well. As a matter of fact, to my theory, like if you know, not necessarily a sun, but just like a little hole and some light, because when the light comes through, it's gonna spread everywhere, you know, to a certain extent. You know, as a matter of fact, you see the basis of how we create, you know, because this almost look like the inside of an actual flashlight, you know, making the light reflect in that type of manner. But you know, that's how they find out that light was actually, you know, waves and not no just straight up particles, you know, moving in that essence. And again, we are beings of light, you know. giving off different, vibrational frequencies. That's the whole thing, dealing with different wavelengths. And matter of fact, and so let's see. Constructive wave interference creates a higher amplitude. You know what I mean? The wave crest will amplify higher. So in constructive, so say for instance, these two waves right here. Matter of fact, in constructive interference is also when two crests, like two crests of a wave, like so one crest of one wave and one crest of the other wave is coming together, then that's a constructive wave interference. So as these two, like as the the crest of this, and they coming together. So say for instance, if I made these waves come at each other like this, they're gonna eventually come up and create one big wave, you know what I'm saying, and amplify together. It's constructive wave interference. So when they come together, instead of like destructively hitting each other and causing division or like to cause the amplitude to decrease, it's causing a amplitude to increase, you know what I'm saying? And just like that, as above so below, when two beings, constructively interacting with each other, you know what I'm saying, they amplifying the energy that they putting off compared to two beings come together and the chemistry off, so they kind of like, Xing out each other's energy in essence, you know what I'm saying, because the energy is destructively interfering. And matter of fact, destructive wave interference disappears completely and end up flattening out. Matter of fact, and that's destructive wave interference. Transitioning, you know what I'm saying? And you can see, the trough of one wave, going against the crest of another, that's gonna create destructive wave interference, and they're gonna kind of negate each other, and eventually, it's just they're gonna keep negating each other till just no more wave, Like so when people like, I'm a vegan, I'm a meat eater. I'm over masculine, I'm over feminine, they keep clashing, compared to like, constructive wave interference, where these waves constructively, two different waves, but they constructively come together, instead of going against each other, because that's how these relationships, again, destructive wave interference, the wavelengths not matching up. So it's causing a clash. As a matter of fact, our chakras, whenever they spinning in a whenever our chakras are spinning in a non-harmonic manner, they are creating destructive wave interference. So if one chakra off, it's creating a certain wavelength that's gonna beef with the other chakras. And if you're not keeping up with it, it'll throw the whole chakra system off. And matter of fact, when the whole chakra system off, then that's gonna throw off the Taurus field. Matter of fact, and that's when this ease starts to come into reality. And if you don't know about the law of attraction and how your words and thoughts can manifest things and how to stay in the now, when that disease happens, you're gonna get even more fearful and negative and scared and not know what's going on. And you're gonna and since you don't know that you get that vibe you're getting in is going to create more of that vibe, it just gets worse and worse until you end up, transitioning, basically, just like the live enzyme. Matter of fact, like when cooking, think of a live enzyme as say for instance in our fruits and vegetables and stuff like that we eat, picture it as a human, with an active Taurus field, but when that Taurus field busts, because the live enzyme busts whenever you apply too much heat. That's why when we talk about eating our food, eating healthy, you don't want to overcook the vegetables and things of this nature, because it's about getting nutrients. I tell people, you want to eat a meal that it feel like it take forever for you to want to even have a bowel movement. Like you want to eat a meal that's just so healthy. Like the last thing it's doing is trying to exit your body, compared to where you eat some stuff and it's like the bowel movement's knocking on the door, like, all right, let this shit out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this don't belong in here. Matter of fact, two different wavelengths, you know. Because, matter of fact, that's why waste is leaving the body. Our body is vibrating in a much healthier wavelength than the actual waste. That's why the waste is pulled from, you know, the live enzymes and the things we're going to actually use, and you know, brought out of the body. Matter of fact, I always clown and use the analogy of dropping them lower vibrations, you know. And again, you know, you have the vibration first that in essence create the wavelength, and the wavelength has a certain, you know, frequency to it. You know? So like something as simple as you know, it ain't not crucial, but you know, a simple miss a handshake is like destructive wave interference. You know, the wavelengths was just a little off. You know, again, ain't nothing crucial. As a matter of fact, the afterlife is based off of wavelengths and vibrations within, you know, within your consciousness, which is a collective of all the vibrations that were last present in the body. You know what I'm saying? So whatever frequency our chakras, you know, vibrating on and all that, bam, when we transition that all, you know, packed into the subconscious in essence, you know what I'm saying, of our being, and those vibrations in essence manifest what's next, you know what I'm saying? Literally, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's to vibrate at all times. Even in the afterlife, quote unquote afterlife, I don't like using that word. Even like after we leave these bodies behind, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's to vibrate. It's about the moment, and in that moment, you carrying the vibration of, you know, however you dealt with your physical experience in the matrix, like that's the dimension, or you know, in essence, for lack of a better word to explain this, that's the dimension within the afterlife that you're tapping into. You know what I'm saying? Is whatever vibrational frequency you're on, you know. As a matter of fact, you will interface with the reality, quote unquote. You will interface with the reality that your subconscious vibration creates, tapping into a dimension with wavelengths that match up with yours in essence. Matter of fact, I think about what dreams may come, but then again, like with my own, you know, my own DMT trip when I had my journey, like literally, like things manifest, like, you know, right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes it's no, like, you know, you really see is no such thing as time in essence, you know. But I also know that I was tapping into, you know, a certain dimension, and that again, there's multiple dimensions after we transition. Like again, that's why subconsciously this Catholic Church try to brainwash everybody with this. You got heaven and you got hell. You only got two options after you transition out of your body, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's far from that. You know, I mean, down to where you could possibly end up, you know, being trapped in a house. You know, in essence, you know, where your soul not able to really go on because, you know, in essence, your spirit was so, you know, so connected to earth that you're not really getting a chance to ascend. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different aspects to our existence on that level, you know. But you know, definitely with the afterlife, with, you know, transition out of this body, you know. And again, as I'm speaking on this too, it's certain things that, you know, with any of us, you know, we're only going to tap into future information to a certain extent, you know, because I could feel like even now, which is almost like some parts got erased for me not to be able to explain good, you know, if that makes sense, or became more faint. You know, like I remember, you know, the fullness of the experience. You know, it's only bits and pieces that might have, you know, and then I ain't gonna say left, because if I, you know, move around the right way, move the antennas the right way, I might pick up on the signal. But you know, it's definitely, you know, again, dealing with the vibration, what you're dealing with right now, that transitions, you know, with the subconscious. That's why it's so important to program our subconscious right now, you know. And matter of fact, and speaking of constructive wave interference, you know, like our Taurus field is a display of that. Because matter of fact, so the golden mean ratio allows for waves to interfere with each other. Because when you think of our Taurus field, you know, they all like the waves swirling to the middle. You know what I'm saying? All these waves swirling to this point, being sucked in like a tornado and coming out, you know what I'm saying? So them waves is constantly doing that, but without destructively interfering with each other. But that's if we're maintaining a healthy, you know, chakra system in Taurus field. When I say chakra system, chakra, nadis, meridians, like, you know, just healthy energetic field, then, you know, that trickles out, the inner universe trickles to the outside, you know, on the etheric level, you know, again, this constructive wave interference. And as above, so below, you know, we are vibrations of light, you know what I'm saying? And again, different vibrations, you know, but still constructively interfering with each other, you know, not interfering with each other and flatten each other's wavelengths out, you know, like how some people out here, you know, matter of fact, we familiar with it in the hood, how some people, you know, they destructively interfere with each other's wavelengths to a point of where the wavelengths flatten out or disappear, you know, like you know, so no coincidence they use that, you know, to personify like, oh, he might have left the building. No more wavelengths, no more little bouncy green light. It must mean something. But, you know, just wanted to share that aspect and just seeing again the importance of wavelengths. And I did draw out like some of the little examples of seeing like the difference in like a high frequency, uh, high vibrational wave against, you know, something with a lower frequency. They came together, you know. But you could just use your mind. I guess in this one, you would probably the lower vibration will probably, you know, kind of get to this, you know, because even though it's a high frequency, you know, it's a small amplitude, you know, compared to this amplitude, you know. And these two almost come together, almost even each other out, you know, high vibration, lower, but, you know, about the same amplitude in essence. And this one is extremely high, you know, frequency compared to something, you know, low with a low amplitude. So, you know, that high vibration would definitely influence this one. You know, because that's another thing too. It's just like mathematics. Like if this wave, if this represented one, you know, being, and that being with the wavelength like this went around 10 different beings that had a wavelength like this, that being gonna have to really, you know, maintain its vibration to keep it that way, you know what I'm saying? Because these waves are gonna constantly be interfacing. Because that's another thing. Just from us standing in each other presence, our chakra waves are interfacing with each other. So you got constructive and destructive wave interference, you know, happening as our chakras interact with each other, you know, because our chakra, again, a vibration, you know, sound is light as well, you know, because a vibration, something moving, vibrating, pulsating, you know, it also creates a noise or a sound as well, you know, that could be heard, you know, but I forgot to see, I got but just back to the mathematics of it, you know, a high vibration, you know, has to really maintain to be around, you know, 10 of these. And again, that's what I was talking about, like the chakras, you know, resonating with certain sounds. That's what I was getting at, you know, because vibration, you know, in essence, turning a sound, the different chakras resonate. Matter of fact, and there's no coincidence that, you know, the lower chakras have lower vibrational hertz, you know, frequency, you know, that it correlates with. And the higher chakras have a higher vibrational sound frequency correlate with it. Uh, the lower chakras have a lower vibrational color that correlates with it. The higher chakras have a high vibrational light that correlates with it. It's like no coincidences. It's like you have to just sit there and just be like, oh no, like what I'm saying, like just complete denial mode to, you know, matter of fact, and that would mean that all y'all right now, like say for instance, like just to say about if somebody watching this that thought that all this was wrong or stupid or this, when then drop your kids out of school right now, because they learning about if you call this stupidity, and again just in that light, because I know how it could be out there, but again I'm not trying to I don't want to clash. I want you to learn, be open to learning this. And just to brief a little bit also, since we're talking about waves, got the different wavelengths. Matter of fact, kind of get into them. You got, the beta waves. Matter of fact, because, our brain deals with certain brain waves. I mean, certain wavelengths in essence. And matter of fact, our brain will deal with like all four of the brain waves at once, but it's just depending on what we're doing at which one is gonna be more present, And again, you're seeing like everything is vibration, matter of fact, hermetic principle. And as above, so below. Like it's all but beta waves resonate within from 12 hertz to 40 hertz, and it deals with alertness, being focused on tasks at hand, like when we dealing with active conversation, playing sports, dealing with concentration, having a sharp mind. But beta waves is basically like when we're active, when we function and stuff like that. Matter of fact, and that's more of a higher frequency. And matter of fact, which I should have started with this one, but gamma waves is a little is of a higher frequency than beta waves. Matter of fact, it's from 40 hertz to 100 hertz. And gamma waves, we experience in moments of ecstasy and high energy. So I guess a gamma wave would really be going off during psychedelic experiences. We'll probably have a lot of gamma waves because we will have a lot of blissful moments. Our DMT being secreted, serotonin being secreted, and then and besides the serotonin being secreted, shit, psilocybin and psilocin and DMT, that's all close to the same molecular structure as serotonin. But again, gamma waves vibrating on a higher, frequency, and that deals with moments of ecstasy and high energy. And again, I spoke to the beta wave. So after you got the gamma, higher than the beta, and then after that you got alpha. I always speak to the alpha waves and dealing with the candle and how looking at the flame of a candle can in tune the brain waves into an alpha state. The alpha state deals with 8 hertz to 12 hertz, and it deals with relaxation, calm, well-being, not really sleepy or attentive, kind of like the daydreamy type of vibe, and again, good for subconscious programming. So that's mostly that's the alpha wave right there. Then you got the theta waves, they're from 4 hertz to 8 hertz, and it deals with repetitive activity. So our brain will be in theta waves whenever we dealing with repetitive activities like brushing our teeth, taking a shower, taking the same route to work. And matter of fact, like speaking of that, changing up some of these habits, like in order to create neuroplasticity, because neuroplasticity is when we create new neural connections or neuron connections, or synapses or cognition, however, what I'm saying, within the brain. You think of cognition, ignition, firing it up. How they say that, brain cells that wire together, fire together, but to You know, again, and speaking to neuroplasticity, you know, like where we're taking the same route to work and stuff like that. When we take a different route to work, you know, use our left hand for some things instead of our right if we're right-handed, or vice versa if you're left-handed. But you know, that creates neuroplasticity because, you know, matter of fact, and it's also kind of balancing out the brain too. Like, well, more so like we're doing, you know, using different hands for different things. But you know, that creates neuroplasticity. Basically, like I tell people, almost like plastic surgery, like natural plastic surgery that you do to yourself, in essence, on the neuron level. But again, theta waves deal with repetitive activities. You know, as a matter of fact, and like intuitive, catching intuitive vibes. You know, matter of fact, it's kind of like when our mind disengages from reality and connect with our imagination. So the theta waves is like, again, right after alpha waves, because you know alpha waves is that subtle type of, not complete daydream vibe, but you know, but theta wave is more of like, you know, like just autopilot somewhat, you know. Again, because we get in autopilot mode when we're doing repetitive activities, our brain not even working. Matter of fact, so speaking to neuroplasticity and limitless or lucid, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, repetitive activities, that mean every day, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, your brain is just coasting. You know, it's just like, oh, autopilot, oh, autopilot. You know, like nothing different happens in your experience, so you don't grow and evolve, and again, had this neuroplasticity in order to you know, do these different things. You know, that goes into that. You know. Now, right after theta waves, you got delta waves, and that is below, well, basically 4 hertz and below. You know, and that deals with the unconscious state, deep sleep, and total loss of awareness. Basically just allows us to rest. You know, as that, you know, deep sleep mode. As a matter of fact, I think whenever you're too deep into delta, it could be hard for you to get into a place of lucidity, you know, because you gotta be a little, you know, it can't be too like, you know, knocked out like that. You know, you gotta have a little bit of consciousness there on a subtle level. You know, because matter of fact, that's why the herb, you know, for some of us, you know, and again, more so not the herb smoke, but what medium we choosing to deal with herb through. You know what I'm saying? Some of us deal with herb in a much more cleaner fashion, you know, too. So that's a difference. But the heavy herb smoke right before you sleep, nonetheless, will kind of put you more in a tranquilized state of sleeping, where you could fall into a deeper, you know, state. And again, the different you know, wavelengths in the brain, the different signals change by the type of activities that you're engaged in. You know what I'm saying? So when you're engaged in, you know, again, like something active, you know, you're more in beta. You know, you kind of like coasting, doing the brushing your teeth. You know, you theta is mostly active. You know, beta is there, but theta is mostly active in that moment. You know. So, you know, it's just correlates like that. And go check out my video. I got at least 3 different videos, I think, on solfeggio tones, and, you know, and music, and, you know, just somatics and wavelengths, stuff like that. And matter of fact, I'm working on, again, since I'm around a laptop at the moment, trying to get back to having like some of the videos that have the little ID card pop up, where it's like, as soon as I said, because I used to do that in my videos, I'd be like, hey, go check out this video, and then, you know, it will pop up in the little identity thing, you know. But matter of fact, I think it's on this side. I ain't did it in so long, see. But you know, to get deeper, you know, and just more, because again, you know, the more you kind of get little information from here, little information from here. That's why when people come at me with that straight up, like, how do I start my spiritual? Like, bro, have the drive to not just try to ask somebody for all of your spiritual knowledge all at once. Like, you gotta be digging, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, wherever you gravitate towards, you know. And ain't nothing wrong with asking questions. I tell people, like, please don't let me discourage you from asking questions, you know. I'm just letting you know how I get down with, you know, just me being authentic about how I deal, you know, nothing against it. But that's basically it. Matter of fact, also, you know, not to forget, you know, the crystals vibrate at certain wavelengths and frequencies, because, you know, the sulfur in here vibrates at a certain frequency. The iron in here vibrates at a certain frequency. The beryllium, this emerald, so the beryllium in here vibrates at a certain frequency. I think it has aluminum in it too that vibrates at a certain frequency. You know, the microcrystalline quartz in here vibrate at a certain frequency. You know, the palm tree vibrate at a certain frequency. You know, it's simple. Not no, ooh, these crystals is crazy. Like, no, this is the stuff that your little kids is learning in science class. And if you think I'm crazy, then the whole world is crazy. Which the last part, like I'm crazy, then the whole world is crazy. Right. But yeah, you know. And matter of fact, and that's one thing again with that vibe. Like when people like, again, like, oh man, well, how does crystal work? How did? All right, I'm giving you the straight signs. I'm taking it out of the spooky place. You know, like, and if you want to go to the spooky place, we could go there too. I could talk about the stones on Aaron's breastplate. If you're a devout Christian, you want to talk about the Bible, we could talk about the 12 stones on Aaron's breastplate. We could talk about the 12 tribes of Israel that represent the 12 zodiac signs. And 12 zodiac signs have gemstones that resonate with them, like the 12 stones on Aaron's breastplate. So wherever you want to go with it, we could take it. I'm just less, you know, matter of fact, because I'm kind of just, you know, getting a little more of that masculine vibe, you know, and right now we dealing with, you know, how we deal with relationships, you know, so it's me being more upfront about, you know, just how I deal, and I say more upfront, but just, you know, more stronger about it. It is what it is. Yeah, because I'm not much for. Because you know why I'm not. So let me give y'all a brief story. You're going to get a little story at the end of this video. But that's why I'm not too into debating, which I done said it before indirectly. But, you know, man, I done debated enough with my partners about bullshit, like about sports and all that other, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, last thing I feel like doing is trying to. And which, again, though, I see, though, where it's like, hey, you know, where you're calling there, because I do know how to shut somebody up with facts if I wanted to, you know, but I guess I'm just not, you know, I'm not into it on that level. I just be liking to study how my inner universe create the person that I might want to debate with. You know, like I'm into the deepness of that, like what's going on inside me to feel like I want to even debate this person at first. You know, but peace, happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.